Hey everyone, how's it going? So, it's been getting chilly here because I should have gotten water before I sat down. Because fall is coming, yay! So I got my granny sweater on. Please don't mind. Anyway, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and it triggered, well, I don't want to say triggered. It, prompted a download from Spirit that I need to share with you guys. So, and you know, it's funny because I have done a reading about Gaia way, like years ago. I think it was back in 2022. I actually remember because I remember the date being, it was all twos. But, and it was about, I did it for Earth Day, and it's kind of the same thing. So if there's a way you can find that video on my YouTube channel, I know it's there. It's not similar. There's a lot more information, but I had to write down everything they were giving me because the information was just flowing and it was just like streaming out. So, yeah, it's a lot. I'm going to try and say it in a way that you guys understand, but I also don't want to take away from what Spirit said. And I will let you know when it's Spirit's words and my own. I'm not going to add my own ego to the mix because that does tend to happen when people read. So you have to be careful of that. First and foremost, I want to say this. I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I am not a doctor. I am a psychic medium. I'm a medical intuitive. And the information I receive comes from Spirit. It does not come from me. I'm just a channel. Okay? So with that being said, so that everybody knows, I'm just giving that information. What you choose to do with it is up to you. I'm not trying to steer anybody's opinions or make people believe the way I see things. That's not what's happening here. I'm just giving this information, and if you want to add some comments down below, please do. That's it. It's like I have to say this clause in a way. All right. So, okay. Let's get started. Okay, Spirit, before I convey the information that you downloaded this morning, please just work through me and in a way that the collective understands and share your wisdom. So all morning I kept hearing, well, let me get back. So my friend and I were having a discussion the night before, and she was just telling me about what she was going through, what she was feeling, how she was hurting, the pain physically, you know, just a lot of like physical things that she's been feeling lately. And I said, you know, yeah, me too. And yeah, of course we're going through, we had the full moon, we had this eclipse. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's not the foundation for the reason why you're feeling these symptoms, okay? And I know a lot of people talk about shifting and the symptoms associated with that. That's fine. This is different. It is still the same, and yes, the concept is the same, but it's not the same. I don't know if I said that right. All right. Well, anyway, what I kept hearing, I woke up, usually I wake up at 5:30 in the morning anyway, but lately I noticed I've been a little tired because I'm helping my son just get kicked off with school at home. And so I've been waking up at 6:30. But today, no. I was up at 5 with my brain just running. And download after download after download. And the first thing I heard them say was, now mind you, I'm laying in bed. I'm just kind of waking up. So I'm in that in-between place. And that's when the information comes, mostly. Especially information like this. So the first thing they said was, think of yourselves as diamonds. Heat and pressure are essential for your spiritual formation. And then it was just like a slew of stuff. So all of a sudden I saw each of us, you know, on this planet that are diamonds of light. Like it looked like we had a diamond right here where I see it as where the soul is, or the higher self, right? But they were showing me images of just all of us human entities in human form with these diamonds in our centers. Right above the solar plexus is where I could say is where I saw it. I'm going to read what they said to me, and I'm going to input my own things, and when I do, I will say, this is my opinion, okay? So they said, as you uncover the layers of your human existence, breaking each one under extreme conditions, challenges, and lessons, right? You gain clarity of the higher self, your soul, your spirit, your authenticity. Personal growth through your strength of adversity and the trials of your charted and uncharted existence. So they're saying, it's almost as if we're feeling the pain of uncovering these layers. We're feeling physically the spiritual changes that we're going through. And yes, that does have to do with shifting, but we've been shifting for a long time, and you guys know this. If anybody follows spirituality and they're looking to hone in on their psychic skills and they're trying to get in touch with their higher self and their authenticity, you know you've been going through these shifts for, I mean, honestly, I'm going to say probably the past decade, maybe a little over, maybe longer for some of us. But they're saying the reason why this is happening is you're uncovering every layer. And as you do this, you're gaining clarity more into your higher self. Now, they want to compare it. They're comparing it with Gaia. So they're saying Gaia is also going through her shifts. When I say Gaia, you know I mean Earth. So Earth. She is also going through her shifts along with you with epic proportions. So when they said epic, you have to understand. So they're telling me this, but I'm getting the images of what they're telling me. And as they said epic proportions, they were showing me cataclysmic events like, you know, storms and geostorms and hurricanes and floods and fires and, you know, mudslides and just anything that Gaia is, you know, showing through weather patterns, right? She, like you, is rebelling against a broken system that will no longer work, and she, too, is destroying, rebuilding, and healing. A painful process for anyone. This is my spirit guides telling me this. Or it could have been a higher, not that my spirit guides aren't higher, but sometimes I do get the council, and the council will come in and tell me things. So they're saying that, like Gaia, we are doing the same thing. And that's where the aches and the pains and the emotional highs and lows happen. So they want you to know. So if you've been feeling aches throughout your whole body, pain, numbness in your fingers, your hands, backache, neck pain. I've been reading a lot of clients lately because, you know, I'm a medical intuitive, and I have been picking up on stuff like a lot of stuff with ear issues, but it's more about an imbalance, tightening of the jaw, the throat, a lot of headaches, migraines. I don't even want to say it's depression. I think it's more that we're just in so much pain physically that we're just like, why do I feel this way? Like, what's wrong with me? A lot of my clients go to the doctor, they get checked out, and they're fine. Now, what I tell them mainly when I see, and I've read, you know, the past readings especially, I've noticed that a lot of people need to get blood work done for vitamin deficiencies and food allergies or something pertaining to food and gut health. Now, that's always kind of been an issue, but you have to understand, they've been messing with our food. So whatever they're doing is starting to affect us, and it's affecting, you know, it's all seeping through our pores, our cells, everything. So not only is it physical, it's spiritual. These aches and pains, these things that we're feeling. And they're comparing us to Gaia in that sense where it's like, well, she's going through her changes too. And so in a way, it's like a mirror. Like, it's like a mirror. Like, we're kind of mirroring, we're empathic or feeling the empathy of our environment, that's normal, right? I mean, that's how it is. Especially if you're highly spiritual, you're highly intuitive, you walk in a room, you're feeling that energy. So, I mean, it's the same thing with Gaia. And she feels our energy in return. And that's what they were trying to tell me. They were like, you have to understand this, we're all in this together. And literally all meaning the world as a whole, us as human beings, but also Gaia herself, the earth itself. They wanted to say that all of these are clues. These pains that you're feeling, they want you to know that they've given you the tools you need to understand the clues. And they were bringing it up. They were saying astrological events are clues. moon phases, sun phases, the flow of energy, learning about time and how to use it to your advantage. When I heard that, the first thing they said was that we can manipulate time. There is no such thing as time, right? Time is a man-made construct. So they were saying how, how long you heal, how quickly you heal, how long you stay at a dead-end job, how long you stay in a dead-end relationship, how long you allow yourself to feel pain. It's really up to you. And that you have the ability to speed it up and to get on with it, in a sense. But they're also saying that they've given us the tools, and these are the clues that guide us to balancing ourselves, to shedding the old quickly, so that we can move on the energy, or move the energy along. They were saying that listen to your body, listen to how Gaia speaks to you through nature and natural events. I like this example because, and before we move on, because I know it sounds crazy what I'm telling you, but it's almost as if, because of the input and output of energy between both the earth and us as human beings, it's like we're reflecting off each other. Gaia's responding to the energy that she's being fed from us as a collective. But then it's also the other way around. And so in order to fix that problem, this symbiotic relationship that we have with the earth, we need to work on our own selves first. Our own selves. I said cells, isn't that funny? But that's true. We have to work on our own selves and our own energy first. Now, one of the things I always say to my clients is that the best thing that you can do for the planet as a whole and for yourself is to work on your energy and the energy you put out there. Now, it's not to say that you have to be perfect 24/7, but I am saying that we need to raise our vibration in order to make a difference collectively. And if we're all raising our vibration at the same time, and if we're all being diligent about it, that it could heal the earth faster so that the new earth can take hold. So, okay, let's go on. Current energy effects on spiritual divines. Wait, did I skip? No. That's what the topic is. That's the current energy that's affecting us as well as her, as well as Gaia. So yes, listen to your body. Listen to how the earth is speaking to you through nature and through natural events. If there is a place in nature that you visit often, why? So they had posed that question, and I was like, oh. And when I thought about it, it really made sense to me as to why I love what I love at this moment. But I think I'll always love it. So recently I had gone to the waterfalls. I went on a hike in the woods, went through the trails. I went and saw the river and the waterfalls, right? So I want to just discuss my personal experience and what that was for me. So as I'm walking through the woods, I saw, it was beautiful, of course. I mean, the flowers, the herbs, and natural beauty of everything was gorgeous. But I also saw the destruction from Hurricane Helene and noticed that destruction was actually recreating and shifting the earth in such a way that it was creating more like waterfalls. Like you could see where the destruction was, the fallen trees, and how the earth, was, I don't want to say cracked, but kind of staggered down because of the storm. But it also created the ability for a new waterfall to be created. And I remember thinking, wow, that's kind of amazing. It's almost, and if you put that like pertaining to us, it's what we're going through right now. We're kind of breaking down these walls and these layers that we have built up around ourselves, whether for whatever reason it could be. It could be for protecting the self. It could be because we're conditioned that way. It's because we are afraid to change or shift. If we are shifting and changing, it's so hard. Everybody acts like, spiritual awakening is this beautiful experience. No, it's scary and it's a lot. But it has to happen, and it's going to happen regardless for you divines. You're going to be going through this because it's this dismantling of a system that is broken, not only globally or in the world or on Earth itself, but also for us, dismantling old schematics, old cell memory that's no longer serving us, and old layers of belief, you know. And then in doing so brings us to our authenticity and to our psychic ability and our psychic gifts, which we should be utilizing to help us coast and get through this. Those are the clues, right? So let me just keep going. So the woods. So I saw the destruction of Helene, right? And then as I'm moving and I see the waterfall and I see the river, the first thing that clicked in my head was how, relating to my own life. I was like, wow, you know, I've noticed that my energy has been kind of stagnant and it hasn't been moving. Or I'm trying to make things move, maybe with the push of the waterfall and then the river. But it was also like, I felt kind of like my energy wasn't flowing in the direction that I wanted. And I kind of felt like it was out of control for me. Like I couldn't guide where I wanted my life to go. And like, it's almost, you know, my life was taking over, you know, and it still feels that way. But it made me realize that it was also healing and cleansing out the old so that new energy could come in. And that was the push and the flow of the river. So now again, I'm going to say, is there a place in nature that you visit and why? So I want you guys to ask yourself that question. I know my one friend loves the beach. Now, I don't know what the beach means for her. I know what it means for me. But everybody has their own meaning and their own deciphering of the clues that Spirit is giving you. All right. So right now, why this is happening? Why is this happening? Gaia is trying to connect with her children in order for the healing to progress. And this is them. I wrote this down because there was no way I was going to remember it. What she goes through, you will feel and go through. The pressure you feel physically is the breaking down of not only her layers, but yours. She wants you to feel her pain, to empathize with her, to make it clear that we are all connected. By doing this, she is asking you to raise your vibration. See, I wrote my notes. I don't know if you can see it. That's it. It's a little scribbly, but by doing this, she's asking you to raise your vibration so she can be healed through and by it. So that's the thing, right? So in order for her to be healed, we have to raise our vibration. And when we all do this in raising our vibration, and they say it here too, the higher your vibration, the more the ripple effect will bring a cause and effect for change overall. And that's true. So, I know a lot of you are like, well, I can't be, you know, constantly in an energy or a state of my higher self, because if that was the case, we'd just be on the other side and we wouldn't learn our lessons. Exactly. We can't do that. That's true. But we can get to a place where at least we know when we have those low moments, we could pull ourselves out of it and bring our energy back to that level when needed. All of the things that need to happen in order for that to happen, I just wrote down what I feel. Now, you might have another take on it. If you do, please, you know, honestly, you got to listen to your higher self. I'm just giving you some clues into what they told me and what I perceive to be the right thing. So, healing, obviously, but healing includes many things. Doing your shadow work. So what is shadow work? I've had someone ask me that question. Shadow work is accepting the fact that we are both light and dark beings within, you know, we had this balance. The only time when we're not that is when we're in our pure state. But unfortunately, we're not in our pure state because we're housed in a human body. So we're meant to feel all these emotions, not only on the good scale, but on the bad scale. The rage, the jealousy, the resentment, the anger, whatever it may be, the addictions, whatever it is, all those bad things, those bad traits that we are constantly striving to overcome and to better ourselves from. And then, of course, we have the other end of the spectrum, which is when we're in our highest, most beautiful self, where it's like we're creative, we're flowing with energy, we're loving, we're laughing, we're joyous. Everything we do brings us happiness and joy. It's impossible to be in that state all the time. I wish that were the case, but if that was the case, we'd be in heaven or we'd be home. We'd be on the other side. So they're saying that doing your shadow work is accepting that darkness within and acknowledging it, but not giving into it or giving into the ego, because the lower base ego wants to be fed constantly. It does. It wants to be fed constantly. It wants you to be naughty. It wants you to revert. It doesn't want you to progress, because progression is hard. Progression is work. Progression means letting go of those crutches and doing it on your own. It's that kind of a thing. And so that's a constant battle, I think, for anybody. And it doesn't matter what your crutch is or crutches are. It's just a constant job. It's a constant work when you love yourself and you're trying to elevate higher and higher. Certainly, if you go back in your life, I'm sure when you were in your 20s, you were a lot different than you are in your 50s. I'm sure that you have grown and surpassed a lot of your challenges. But they do creep in once in a while, don't they? Those little temptations or those kind of ways of behaving or reacting. And it's a work every day, you know, and it's a choice every day, right? So shadow work is just embracing your shadow, but not giving in to the shadow. Just embracing it, acknowledging it, saying, you know what, that is something that I probably would have done when I wasn't as spiritually evolved or elevated. I'm going to acknowledge that feeling, but I'm going to make the right choice. Okay? Everybody should do shadow work. I did my shadow work in Florida. I'm still doing shadow work here, but it's different now. I progressed since Florida, just like I progressed since Long Island, New York. You know, you progress in stages in life. That's how it's supposed to be. If you don't progress, then you're stuck and you're in a form of stasis. And so instead of becoming a diamond, you're still that hard exterior with the layers that need to be compressed and pounded and whatever. There's no judgments here. Everybody has their own timeline of when they choose to heal, progress, grow, shift, you know? And so we can't judge those people that aren't. And I know, like, I call them karmics and whatnot, but the reason why we call them that is because that's the lessons. It's karmic lessons. And if you're not learning the karmic lesson, it's going to revisit in another form. So until you do, it's going to keep repeating. And that's why when people say, oh, with the Mercury retrograde, oh my God, I can't believe my ex has come back, or oh my God, I can't believe this is coming back, or da-da-da. We can blame Mercury retrograde all we want, but really it's karmic pattern. And if it shows up again, it has to be you to be strong to say no and be like, you know what? I've done that. I'm not doing that again. I've already experienced that. It's time to move on. It's that kind of a vibe, you know? And to have that wisdom, it takes time and cultivation. I still get stuff from my past that wants to come back in. I'm like, why is this back? And I'm just like, let me really think about it this time. But in the past, I would probably do it again and fall flat on my face and be like, oh, why did I do that again? But now I'm at a place in my life where I'm like, I'm really looking at it as, so what is this trying to teach me now? Because I thought I learned this lesson. Is it teaching me to reject it? Which it probably is. To embrace it? It depends on what it is, okay? It's not always an ex coming back. But in my case, it kind of was. I had a ex come back, and it was the same old. They didn't change one bit. Like, I mean, they showed the same behavior that they had when I knew them back in my 30s. And I was just like, wow, it kind of scared me a little bit to see someone still in that pattern. And I was like, haven't they grown at all? Haven't they learned at all? Haven't they done? And I didn't mean to judge, but at first I kind of did, because I was just like, they still think I'm that person back in my 30s and that I'm going to be the same person. So when they came back to talk to me and literally saying that they wanted to get back together and all this other stuff, I was just like, huh? I'm like, I'm not that person. I'm like, I've changed so much. I'm like, I didn't even know what to say. It was shocking, really. So you're going to get stuff like that. You're going to get like karmic cycles wanting to return back. And it could just be spirit, I don't want to say testing, but it could just be spirit saying, hey, you know, did you learn the lesson? Are we good? Can we move on now? And that could be what it is. I don't want you guys to punish yourselves when those things come back. That doesn't mean that you're not on the right track. If anything, it's a marker to say, okay, you know what? I went down this path. I'm not going to go down that one. You know, I already done this. So I'm going to just keep moving. You know what I mean by a marker, right? It's like when you go hiking, they have a marker where you hit your destination or your points. Okay, so that's shadow work. Hermit mode. Hermit mode. I gotta take this off because I'm sweating. So hermit mode is basically, I think a lot of us have kind of been in hermit mode. I know I've been for a while, but I also feel like it's because I needed to look at my life from a safe distance, and I needed to see who was kind of hurting me along my path and my journey rather than supporting me. Hermit mode is a way, and it's, if you can, look at the tarot and read about the hermit card. It's trying to look within to rebalance and find the wisdom without. So it gives you an opportunity to step back and look at your life and look at the people in your life and say to yourself, have I progressed past this? Do I want to revisit this? Do I need to revisit it? If I need to revisit it, is there something that I missed? So it's almost like giving you that pause, that meditation pause, to look within, not only, and I hate using the word judge, but it kind of feels like that, because it is a bit of a karmic judgment, but it's basically saying, how am I a participant in the flow of my life, which you should be a major participant, but sometimes we're also a negative impact on our own lives. You know, we could be our own worst enemy sometimes. I know I can be. Procrastinating, whatever. It's not even about procrastination. It's more like all those feelings of self-doubt, lack of confidence, things like that crop up. That's the shadow side, right?
Hello, I didn't even do nothing.
Sorry, my son's playing, so if you hear him. But so that's, I'm getting that, like, a lot of you, if you're past the hermit mode stage, because I'm finally coming out of mine. And it's not to say you're not going to revisit it in the future. Like I said, this is how it moves, guys. It's a figure 8. We're coming back. We're going forward. We're coming back. We're revisiting. It's just a constant flow. But it's also a constant influx of, thank you. Spirit's like, yeah, but tell them. It's also a constant influx of new energy. So the new energy slowly overrides the old. And then you're going forward. You're moving along. So if you are in hermit mode right now, realize that's just part of the healing process and allow yourself that time to reflect. All right, removing what no longer serves. That's the next thing on the list. I mean, that could be anything. So obviously it's whatever has a negative impact on your higher self. You guys, I have to get water. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So, where was I? All right, removing what no longer serves us. So, obviously, I feel like everybody knows what that is. I mean, you know what's no longer serving you. But sometimes those decisions can be hard. It could mean getting people out of your life that no longer, you know, they're not a benefit. It's not benefit in that sense. What I mean is that they're a hindrance more. Like, they're not supportive of you. They're not supportive of your goals. They have the backhanded compliments. They're hidden enemies. Jealousy, you know, two-faced, those kind of people in your life. If it's a job that you're miserable at, you're going to every day because you feel like you have to. If it's fighting with somebody in a family or a family member that's a narcissist that's giving you problems, people don't seem to realize how easy it is to really just walk away and do what you have to do for your own soul's benefit. It's a tough call because I know a lot of people are stuck in relationships they don't want to be in. But I also, for me, I'm just, again, it depends on the person, I guess. You have to evaluate what you feel is a negative impact on your soul's journey, or on your life, or on your health, or on your psyche, or on your mental health, you know, all those things, physical health. And then say, how can I improve this situation, or what can I do to make the decision to leave the situation? I mean, you have to leave the table when love is not being served, right? So that's all I have to say about that. You guys know what to remove. If it's a toxic trait, if you're, you know, I don't know, everybody has something toxic, right? We all have some kind of thing You know, whether it's eating too much, drinking too much, partying too much, smoking too much, not eating enough. It depends on what it is. If it's a detriment to your health, you know that obviously I have to get rid of this. It's those kind of things. So removing what no longer serves, the authentic path to the true self. That's what they said. They're like, if you know that this is keeping you from living in your authenticity, from living in your authentic truth, then you know you have to get rid of it. You have to, because we're here to do a job, man. We're here to walk the path, and we have to do it. And if that means sacrificing our comfort zone, sacrificing some family members, sacrificing, friendships, or relationships that just aren't vibing with the energy or with your energy, then that's what you have to do. You have to. Because what's going to happen is it's just this karmic lesson that's going to constantly repeat, and it's not benefiting anybody. Because I know a lot of you, it's funny, I have a friend who's like in a toxic relationship, and she's like, yeah, but if I leave, then what are they going to do? Who would they have to take care of them? Or I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was like, I'm like, you're doing them a disservice in a sense, because they're not going to grow and expand. If you're there taking care of them and you're doing everything for them, if you're there kind of like, well, in her case, it was more like just like being like a punching bag, really. I mean, not physically. She wasn't physically abused. But I mean, it was almost like walking on eggs. She would tell me, I come home from work and it's like I'm walking on eggs because I never know what mood he's in. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, that's horrible. I'm like, that can't be good. She's like, no. She's like, we have our good days and our bad. She's like, but I'm noticing they're more bad. And I was like, well, then what do you do? I was like, do you continue to do it or do you walk away? And she's like, I don't know yet. And I was like, well, that's something you're going to have to think about. I didn't tell her what to do. I just listened, Sometimes you just have to listen. But it is a hard thing to do. It's hard to get out of comfort zone. It's also hard to get out of a pattern or a routine that you're used to. And then it's like, well, all this is new. Sometimes the newness is just as scary. But also, you're not going to know how beautiful it can be unless you try, right? So you have to try. So that's another thing that they said. All right, so removing what no longer serves the authentic path to the true self, the higher self, meaning people, places, and things. So I just said that. So work, home environments, the people that in your life that aren't supporting your path or loving you in a way that you feel you deserve to be loved. You have every right to make that choice. And that's the beauty of this life, you guys. You can choose. You don't have to tolerate abuse. You don't have to tolerate narcissism. You don't have to tolerate a job that you hate. You don't have to tolerate the nasty neighbor. Everything is a choice. And if it really gets that bad, I'm feeling that a lot of you probably said, F this, I'm out. It doesn't mean you're giving up. I mean, especially when I see these couples that are in marriages that are just horrible. And like, one friend, she just wants out. And she's just waiting for him to cross over. I'm like, why? I was like, just get a divorce. Just leave. But I mean, people bring up things like finances and all this other stuff. I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry, but my mental health and my life force and my life's journey is not going to be compromised when I can make a choice and save myself and move forward. They wanted to talk about why it's important to raise your vibration. What energy are you putting out into the universe? That was one of the things that they said. So Gaia reflects it all and reacts just like you. You have to be consistent in the care of the higher self, especially in times of pressure. Listening to your feelings, your body, your environment affects your energy. These are the tools that you possess. These are your psychic senses. So they made that clear. They were like, everybody has psychic ability. I'm not special because I do psychic readings. Everybody has this gift. I remember before I really started doing readings. So I started doing readings around like when I was 20, I think. But I had a friend who was very psychic, and I met her when I was about 18, and she was psychic. She had like doing readings. She eventually bought her own store, and this was on Long Island, New York. And I remember she said, Carolyn, you're psychic. She's like, I know you are. She's like, Spirit told me that you're going to be doing readings. You're going to be this psychic. You're going to have your own business. I was like, what? I thought she was crazy. I was like, you're out of your mind, girl. I work for MetLife, and I'm like, I'm just doing that. I was a clacker. I wore heels and suits, and that's what I did. And then I was also a cook. I was a cook for a deli when I was younger. But as I got older, I worked in insurance and with brokers and stuff. The total antithesis of what I'm doing right now. So you just never know where life is going to lead you. And, yeah, I did have stuff when I was a child, and I had told her that, and she's like, well, don't you think that that's your path? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe. And then I just started, all of a sudden, I was just getting into meditation. I was balancing my chakras every day. I was doing yoga. I was eating healthy. I was keeping my vibration high. And then the information was just coming in. And all my clairs just started opening up one by one. And that's how it's going to be for you. So doing those things, raising your vibration, putting that vibration out into the universe is essential. That's why Gaia wants you to connect with her, because you're going to see the patterns in nature, and it is in relation to your own patterns. It's important to understand the cycles of the sun, the moon, not so much calendar, because they didn't bring that up once. All they said to me was, where's that other piece? Did I lose it? All they said to me was the moon phases, sun phases, flow of energy, learning about time. But they didn't say time in the sense that we think, because they said, you can manipulate it. Because there is no such thing as time. Again, I'm going to say that again. I'm sorry, but I have to. Because really, it's true. And everybody knows this, so I'm not saying something you guys don't know. But do you ever notice when you're having the best time, it goes like kind of fast? And then when you're at work and the clock is just droning on, you're looking at the clock every 5 minutes, if it's a job you hate. If not, and you're doing work that you love, it goes quick. But they're like, you can fix that. You can flip the switch and say, you know what, I want work to go quick, and I want the time that I spend enjoying myself, doing the things that I love, to go slow. As a psychic energy, as a psychic entity, not the human self, but your higher self, that is something that you're capable of doing. So, okay. So I was up to, you have to be consistent and care for the higher self, especially in times of pressure. Remember what they said, you're a diamond, right? There was something about pairs too that they wanted to talk about. So that's why all this is happening. That's why you're feeling these aches and pains. Spiritually, you're physically under pressure. You're under pressure to get things moving. You're under pressure to raise your vibration. You're under pressure to get rid of the old karmic cycles. Because they're like, hurry up. We want to get this going. Gaia wants this going. She wants the energy to rebalance itself. If not, she's going to keep getting more cataclysmic. It's not to say that once we raise our vibration, it's going to be a perfect utopia. Eventually, yes, I feel like it might be. I remember I had this discussion with another girlfriend of mine. She and I were talking about the new earth that everybody was saying. And I was like, I don't know, man. I was like, Earth's schematic may end. If people don't do what they need to do, it may just end. And it'll end badly, because I feel like it'll be because of pollutants or the air quality. And also because of cataclysmic events and geostorms and things like that. So I kind of said that to her, and she's like, well, she's like, no. She's like, that's not true. She's like, why can't you just think of it like it will be a new earth and it could be a utopia? And I was like, that could be possible. And like, everybody's talking about how Earth is going to vibrate at a higher level. Whether or not that happens, though, is really up to us. And I think that's why, look, I may do what I do, but I'm the biggest pessimist about what I do. I'm always questioning when Spirit tells me things. I'm just like, what? No, come on, how? And then, of course, I fall flat on my face. But I can't say I disagree with her now, because I do feel that we are capable of changing the vibration, and I do feel that Gaia will respond to that shift and that change within us. And if we're not doing it, we're going to be forced to do it. And I think that's why a lot of people are feeling like in pain and hurting. I want this, again, I told you, this is how this all sparked. Because I had a conversation with my friend. I was like, everything symptom she was telling me, I had the same thing. And at first I equated it to her age because she is older than me. But then when I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute, Carolyn, you have the same thing. I had the aches and pains. I have the neck pain. I just was thinking, because my logical brain was like, oh, it's only because you're always working and you're writing and you're like hunching at the computer and da-da-da. But I mean, it was all the same stuff. And then I had other people with the ear and feeling off balance. Their equilibrium is off. They're feeling spacey. They don't have the energy to do certain things. There's a heaviness in the atmosphere, but it's the energy. And I think everybody is so heavy right now because, look, it's kind of scary right now. I mean, financially, things are really rough. I mean, we were talking about how rent is. I didn't realize, because I left Florida, it's 2.5 years now. I'm laughing because private joke. That's between me and Cynthia. Private joke. But it's 2.5 years now, and I didn't realize how much rent went up already just in Florida. So I was looking. I was like, well, how much is rent in Florida? She's like, Carolyn. She's like $1,800. So I looked. I was like, for a 1-bedroom apartment, it's like $1,600 to $1,800. I remember when I first moved to Florida, you guys, it was $650. I moved to Harbor Cay, and I lived there. Well, that's not my first place. I lived in a condo at first, but then when I moved to Harbor Cay, I think it was $750. $750 for a 2-bedroom apartment. And then all that shit happened with COVID, and then that was it. So I was like, wow, that's crazy, right? It's so crazy to me. Anyway, I digress. So that's the thing. So now I know a lot of you are saying, so we have to work on our psychic senses. We have to attune ourselves with nature and the rhythms of nature. I don't care what you guys do. I can only give you advice. But one thing I could definitely say is meditation's key. Working on your chakras. There's not only the 7. So explore the chakras. Read up on all the chakras, the energy centers. Learn about your etheric layers, because there's multiple layers. You want to learn about that. Have an open dialogue with spirit. Even if you don't know your spirit guide's name, it's okay. They don't care. They just want to talk to you. Talk to them about everything and anything. Ask for the universe to have an impact on your life. Say, universe, I want to know. I want to understand. Please help me to understand. And give it to me in whatever form you see fit. Because everybody's psychic ability is different. Everybody has different gifts. We all have kind of the same. It's all on a spectrum. But some are stronger than others. I have a couple of clairs that are very strong, but then there's ones that come in and out. Like the smell one comes in and out. I don't have to smell everything. Why don't you know? So, but if I'm reading somebody and say they had a grandfather that smoked a pipe, I would smell it. Oh, I smell cherry tobacco. He smokes a pipe. La la la. But that's not one of the most important ones to me. Like the clairvoyance is, hearing them is. Getting the downloads are, the medical intuitive stuff is very important to me because I like to go inside the body and see where the issues are. It's very important for me to know that, and also being an empath so that I can feel what my client is feeling and going through, which is hard too, by the way. But you have to, again, you have to raise your vibration, you have to meditate, you have to work on your chakras, work on your etheric layers, and then I promise, if you dedicate the time to do it, and you don't need to do hours on end, you guys. 15 minutes every morning, 15 minutes at night. If you can do a half hour a day dedicated to that space of time with your communion with God, with the universe, what do you want to call it, whatever you want to call it, spirit, that would be enough. Also, affirmations are very important and keeps you on track. You have to say affirmations that are in line with what it is that you're trying to achieve. Okay? Very important. And honestly, self-talk and how you speak to others. That's something I'm working on. I got to tell you, the past 5 days, doing this school stuff with my son was very challenging for my patience. Now we're kind of getting a rhythm, and it's okay, and I'm trying to be a little more graceful with myself about it and with my son. Because, I mean, the first day, he was crying, I was crying, there was yelling, and then all of a sudden we reeled it in. I was like, okay, listen. This is not going to be beneficial. We have to look at this as this is something we have to do. It's a benefit to us, and that we're learning something through it. And so every day we have a prayer in the morning, and I say, come on, baby, we can do this. We got this. And it's been getting better, you know. So today was a good day. It was a good day. Although he does have a lot of homework to do. So I got to kind of help him with that too. But it's okay. It's all right. It's life. That's life, right? So life is never going to stop. Life is never going to stop giving you challenges. It's never going to stop hurting you. It's never going to stop kicking you down. The thing is, and honestly, this is what's gotten me through a lot. And I've been through some shit. And I know you guys have been through some shit. You wouldn't be listening to this video and spiritually aware if you haven't been through some shit. But I've been through some stuff. And I got to tell you, one of the things that have gotten me through it is my relationship to God and spirit, my angels, my loved ones on the other side, my ancestors, my spirit guides, my higher self. But also saying my affirmations, saying my prayers, having the belief in magic, some kind of magic. You don't even have to believe in magic. You can just believe in good, and that's enough. And then also, this is the best advice I can give, a sense of fucking humor. You're going to need a really good sense of humor, because shit is going to get messed up. Things are going to not go the way you want, and you have to kind of flow with it. So flowing with that energy and understanding how it flows in your life is very detrimental. But when you do these things, when you meditate and you start to uncover your psychic ability, they're going to guide you. I've told you guys this before. If you watch my videos in the past, that so if I know I'm in trouble, or if I'm going into an environment that I know is not going to be good, I get nauseous. If I'm about to get in an argument with somebody, or if something's happening to my son at school, say, when he was going to public, I would get like a really bad headache, and I'm like, something's up, you know? So you're going to start to know that as you get to know your psychic skills. And that's how you're blessed by God, because they gave you these gifts. And I've always said, the spiritual, so it's the five senses in spiritual form is the sixth sense, is your psychic abilities. So, you know, taste, touch, hearing, seeing, all those gifts that we have in the physical, we have in the spirit. In fact, we had those first. The physical came later. You know, I mean, we are divine beings. We're diamonds. Okay? They're trying to break you so that you shine better, brighter, more. And then at that point, you'll be untouchable. No one can harm you. You'll be protected from on high. You are protected now. I don't want to say that you're not, but I'm just saying, if we do the work, if we meet spirit halfway, it's even beyond that. There's so much more, you guys. So much more. And it's beautiful. It's scary, and it's beautiful. That's all I can say. Now, they did want to bring this up because, and before I end this reading, where are we at? Okay, yeah, we're getting close. So I want to say this to close the reading. As far as the love stuff, right? Because everybody's always like, where's my divine counterpart? Where's my person? Da 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 da. They wanted to talk about the joining of pairs. Now, with the earth and us vibrating higher to heal not only ourselves and the earth, we will be joining or paired with somebody in order to do that. This kind of made me realize something. So I don't know how to feel about it. Because I always thought, God, is there somebody for me? Is there my divine counterpart? Is there going to be a man in my life that I'm going to work with and go through these things with? Yeah, there is. Guess what? It's my son. That's my person. So it's not going to be, not everybody's going to have the love of their life. If it happens for me, great. But honestly, it's funny how when you look at life from that perspective, all of a sudden, when they said pairs, they said discuss the joining of pairs. Love relationships, this is what they said. Love relationships, partnerships, friendships, child to parent, relationship to self, relationship to animals, relationship to nature. Those are the things that are key. So it really is saying, basically, it's not just a love relationship. It's not just a twin flame relationship. It's not just a soulmate relationship. It's how you relate to others and the love you share with others. So while I have, of course, my love for my son is beyond, and vice versa. I mean, the two of us together were like two peas in a pod. But if I had love for, if someone came into my life and there would be love there. My friend, I love my friends. My friendships mean so much to me. The ones that I do have. My family, that's a work in progress. But I do love my family. I still love them. So, I mean, it's just this, they didn't really say about love per se. They were more about the joining of pairs and who you're meant to pair up with in order to progress for the earth schematic to heal. Now, I don't know what that means for you. Maybe you're already paired up and you found your person. Good for you. But it could also mean if that's the case and you already have somebody, then you're meant to pair up with someone else. Maybe it's a business venture and you're meant to have a business partner and do this work together. It's all about what work you're meant to do, okay, together. So, and not all of that is a sexual love relationship. Sometimes it's just a relationship with a friend, a business partner, an elderly grandparent, a parent, a sibling. It could be anybody. But they said that there's going to be pairs of people. And the reason why we're joining with this person is because we have work to do together. And they told me it's going to be 10 years. So whoever you're meeting now, or when you do meet that person, whoever that is, again, I'm sorry it's not all about love and, you know, the white knight coming in to save you or something. I don't know. I don't know what, you know, you guys think. But or what relationship you want, or if you're in a relationship, if it's the right one. If it's not, you definitely know it's a karmic. Because they're not supporting what your dream is as far as, like, your spiritual goal and what it is you're meant to do. Because you guys know what you're meant to do. You do. So if they're not supporting that, that's not the right person. I hate to say it, but it's not. So that's another thing they wanted to really hone in on. Alright, that's what I got with my notes. And I hope that made sense. I know it was a lot. But I just want to make sure, Spirit, is there anything else in closing this reading that we need to know? Okay, know that loving yourself is just as important as loving everyone else around you. Love isn't the only key. It's vibrating higher and balancing the emotions within so that the dark doesn't override the light. It's balancing the lower base ego with the higher self's evaluation of the ego. This is them, guys. This isn't me. With the evaluation of the ego. Looking at the ego like a petulant child, not chastising it, but patting it on its little head and moving on up your way. Recognizing that within yourselves, it shows that you are indeed a work in progress, and that no one will ever be perfect on the earthly plane or on the other side. You live much more expanded lives. You live in such grace and such creativity. Your minds are so open that it encompasses all the truth, all your lives, all the cell memory. And that wisdom is only seen on the other side so that you have the tools necessary to evolve and grow. When you come to Earth, you lose all of that, only because you are meant to perfect certain things in certain ways. And so when you chart your life in your earthly form, each life is a building block towards evolving, growing, and expanding. The universe is all expansive, as you are all expansive. You are a light being, you are a gift from God, you are a diamond in the rough, and you are rare. Know how beautiful you are, and understand, that's so beautiful, that the work you're doing, though it may seem small to you, is part of a greater tapestry, and that you are whole unto yourself. The only perfecting you need to do is your connection to Source and to your higher self. Love yourselves unconditionally and see others through that mirror. That's it. That was beautiful. Thank you, Spirit. Whew. Well, I hope you guys like this reading. It's a little different than what I normally do. I am going to do more channeled stuff. I was really kind of shaky about doing it, but they kept pushing. And they want me to do more of this. So my readings might change on the YouTube channel with more channeled information now. I guess it's time, you know. If you do want a reading, all my information's down below. Remember, when I do the medical intuitive stuff, and they wanted me to point this out, I can see inside the body for the physical stuff, but I can also see the spiritual as well. So you're getting both. And Spirit works through me to tell me what it is that you need to kind of heal certain situations or aspects of yourselves, or what you need to do. So if you're interested in a reading, please let me know. I will have specials in October, so you might want to wait till then. It doesn't matter to me. I love reading everybody. I love reading people. I love doing this work, and I love you. Okay, bye guys.